Alright, this is the second response, Tran, Roger, to your video, To Hell with Faith. And I don't want you to feel too picked on, but I am going to go after a couple of the things in there, but I'll tell you why. I went back, I'm a subscriber, and I went back, I said, when did I subscribe to Tran Holmes? And it was, I found a video post called The Truth About Absolute Truth, something to that effect. And you were responding to a very thoughtful email, and I really immediately appreciated the balance you wanted to strike with science, its limitations, and yet its value. It's very much how I feel about science, the scientific method, the human endeavor to find the truth as close as we can, approximate it. And this latest video, it seems to fly so much in the face of so many of the things you said. I just printed out a few of the things that I wanted to remind you of. But here's the second point you made. Actually, it's the first sentence, first point you made. Hey, Noah. First point you made in the video. It said, believing in something without proof is irrational. And since your subject was faith, and I disagree with many of the points you made, I wanted to start out with a couple of definitions on faith. The first one doesn't seem to fit. There's like 13 of them in there. Confidence or trust in a person or thing. That's a type of faith. Faith in another person's ability. Here's the one I thought fit what you were trying to say. Belief that is not based on proof. Okay, according to you, believing in something without proof is irrational. However, listen to the sentence, the context sentence the dictionary put in there. He had faith that the hypothesis would be substantiated by fact. I thought that was funny because in your video on The Truth About Absolute Truths, you said, I quote, I dislike the word faith when referring to science. I feel that faith implies too many heavy connotations of the supernatural and the divinity. I think you struggle with objectiveness and subjectiveness, and we all do, but in this video I think that's what was lacking. I want to point you to a book I've mentioned in a couple of my posts. Let's see if we can get this in here. What We Believe But Cannot Prove. Today's leading thinkers in science in the age of certainty. You won't believe the heavy hitters that are in here, and I think alone, if you just read some of these things these people believe but cannot prove, I think you'd be willing to retract that statement. In the meantime, let me give you a couple of things that you seem to believe that you aren't able to prove. Oh, irrational, you said. You would say that these 100 eminent scientific minds are irrational because they all believe things they cannot prove. And yet it says irrational is without the faculty of reason or deprived of reason. Couldn't be these people. Without or deprived of normal mental clarity or sound judgment. No, it doesn't fit any of these people. Not in accordance with reason, utterly illogical, as in irrational arguments. Now, I understand you're talking about religious beliefs, and my gosh, you can find some wild ones. I know that. But that isn't how you said it. Like I said, you went after a large group of people and made some sweeping generalizations, and you're getting the applause of many people, and so I want to go ahead and challenge you on that. You mentioned in science that, let's see if I can find it here. Here's a belief you have. I think nature is constructed in such a way that developing a language to describe it perfectly, as mathematics attempts, won't ever be truly possible. That's you from your video, The Truth About Absolute Truths. You can't prove that, but you know what? It's not irrational by any stretch of the imagination. It's a sound thought. I happen to share that thought. I really do. I just don't think we're ever going to really be able to define things to that degree. Here's another thing you said. I believe the universe is structured on probabilities, and therefore there is no way to absolutely define a concept. Roger, you can't prove that. There's no proof for that, okay? It's a very reasonable belief. It's not comparable to a virgin birth. I'm not saying that. I'm saying, like I said in my last video about can an omnipotent God make a rock he cannot move, when you go after a large group, you want to be sure you're not being overly subjective, unless your intention was actually to poke fun do the ad hom thing, then that's different. But you sounded very serious in your video. Roger, you believe things that you cannot prove, and we all do. And it's almost flying off the hand. That's not the right word. It's almost without thinking that a person makes that statement, and it's common, and it's sad. It's most common with people that have these personal issues with people of any kind of faith. With faith, I mean, you just have this huge issue with the word faith, like you said, because in your mind it carries these connotations, of supernatural things and religious things. When it's a word in the English language that it means believing in something you can't prove. The scriptural definition, I don't know if I can remember. I should have found that. It says, faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things unseen. That's what it says. It's no more than that. Now, I see where you might get ticked off when people start saying they know things because they believe things. No problem with that, but that's what you need to say, I guess. Another belief you have, apparently, you believe we have free will. Correct me if I'm wrong, but then you said this. If our lives, thoughts, and decisions were deterministic by way of quantum mechanics, let's say, and that does sound like a contradictory statement, but let's argue for it for the sake of this example, then free will wouldn't exist, and I don't think I'd want to live in a universe where I wasn't able to make my own choices. I don't have a problem with that personally. I don't know if I believe in free will or not. I mean, I definitely believe that in the perception of free will. I can see, I think I have free will, etc. But when I try to step out of my personal experiences and whatnot, I'm not so sure that that's going to end up to be the case one day. You believe that, you can't prove it. That's okay, Roger. It's not irrational to have intuitive beliefs. It's very human. Presumably, this is you again. Presumably, other intelligent life should reach the same conclusion, even if their sensory perceptions were radically different from ours and their mathematics contrived in a different scheme. Presumably. It's a presumption. Enough said? The fundamental nature of the universe is, we believe, true throughout our universe, so we should say this universe's perspective. Roger, like I said, I'm going to just break down the video a piece at a time, and hopefully you'll be a little bit introspective about what your motivations were and look again at some of the things you said. I can tell you, I disagree completely that believing in something without proof is irrational. Can be. You can be irrational. My gosh, you can be irrational and believe in all kinds of things that there's plenty of proof for.